Hello and welcome back. My name is Celeste Williams and welcome to the channel. Thank you for coming back by. This is a channel dedicated to building healthy, happy, stronger families, helping you commit to your dreams, your dream family. So if you are interested in that, if that is something in the content that you like, then please like, subscribe, and share. I'll surely appreciate it. We are continuing part 3 of our series, Birthing Our Dream Family. So today we're going to get started, and we are going to use the Bible. So we're going to get in Proverbs 30, verses 26. So if you have a Bible, get it out. If not, that's okay, because I'm going to read to you anyways. Here I go. The conies are but a feeble folk, yet make they their houses in the rocks. The conies. Okay, the conies, most of us don't hear of conies. Conies is a Syrian hyrax, which is like a Middle Eastern rabbit. That's what they compare it to. When it's down on all fours, it does kind of look like a rabbit. I think when it gets up on all fours, it kind of reminds you of a prairie dog. But this coney, the Bible says, is feeble. That means weak. It is a weak animal. It is preyed upon. But he is wise. And why is he wise? Because his home is in the rocks. Now, I could make your typical correlation here, right? And we know Jesus is our rock, right? And we need to find our protection and our safety and our wholeness directly in Jesus. But I want to take this, of course, and I want to apply it to family life. And when I think of rocks, if I think of a cave, I think of protection. And the series is kind of building a foundation for how our families can grow. And is your home a place of protection? When people come there, when your family is there, do they feel protected? Do they feel like they can be vulnerable? Because that's so important in our families. Rock, protection. Okay, so there's many types of abuse. Okay, I think when we think of abuse, we think of physical and we think of verbal abuse, but those aren't the only types of abuse. Now, while they are, physical abuse could be like someone hitting you, somebody sexually touching you, which ought not to be. I would even take physical abuse as far as getting up in somebody's face. You know, there's people that are always up in your face and they gotta have the last word and they're doing this and they're like right here. And it's this power ego that they're on. And they have to prove themselves. There's also just verbal abuse. Putting somebody down consistently. Making somebody feel like they're worthless or not worthy. And listen, God didn't make anything worthless. And we have no business making anybody ever feel that way. There's also manipulating. Manipulating is a form of abuse, believe it or not. And there are master manipulators out there. And you know them, you've met them. They are the people that can turn something around and make you feel bad for what you did, although you know you were right. You didn't do anything wrong. But they're so cunning with their words that they can make you feel like you are actually guilty of something that you haven't even done. And they can put this massive guilt trip on you. And although they're wrong, they're so fierce with their words, they can win. They can win the fight. They can win the argument. And because you're so feeble maybe, or maybe you're so cautious with how you use your words, and you have this fear about how you use your words, you won't stand up and call them out and call them, you know, that they're being dirty on you the way that they are. They're master manipulators, okay? That's a form of abuse, making people feel like they're wrong when they're not, so that you can just win the game, so that you can be right, so that you can win the argument. That's not right. That's a form of abuse. You're using your cunning words to get over top of somebody in a wrong way, in a way that God would not approve of. There's also verbal abuse as far as lying. And now listen, with all these things, I'm talking about a consistency. I'm not talking about somebody that messed up, made a mistake, whoops, told a fib, you know, manipulated something as a child when they shouldn't have. No, if we're honest, we're probably all guilty of that at some point of view. I'm talking about a consistency with these things. And lying can be a form of abuse. When we just start lying to lie because we want to cover something up or because we don't want to feel stupid, it becomes habitual, and it's a form of abuse to people around you because people begin to not trust you. They don't know left from right with you, and you're not dependable to them anymore. Therefore, they don't find you a protection. They find you a liability now because you have lied so much that we no longer can trust your words. It's abuse. There's also forms of financial abuse. This could be with elderly people. It could be with children. It could be with a spouse. It could be as far as maybe you're taking care of your grandmother and you're stealing her money. You know, you're slowly slithering out her finances. It could be a spouse. You're taking money, and although there might not even be anything wrong with it, you won't tell your spouse that you did it. And that's financial abuse. It's supposed to be a joint agreement. Now, you know, we understand that some families have certain agreements to where they say, no, that's okay, you can do that, you don't need to ask me, you don't need to talk. For instance, I used to get paid a certain amount of money, and the money went to me and my husband, but the checks were actually for me. So my husband would tell me, whenever you get those checks, just sign my name to it. I don't care. You know, go cash it. That's for you and the kids. We had an agreement there. We had an understanding, okay? That's different. But sometimes we're just like literally lying about the way that we're spending our money, or spending money and we're not telling because we have a guilty conscience because we know we're not supposed to. We're racking up credit card debts and we're not telling. I mean, and it's a form of abuse. It's abusive. You're hurting somebody else's financial status along with your own. It could be as simple as not paying bills when you have the money to pay bills. And then making your wife and your children worry about if we're going to have Silco the next week. I mean, that's abusive. We shouldn't have to live in a constant anxiety all the time over these petty little things. It could be, let's see, I wrote something else down here. Hold on. Let's see, sneaking, stealing, paying bills you could have. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. But the point is that when you go home, do you feel protected, or do you constantly feel in a state of anxiety? Okay, not the type of like, my kid's worried because my kid did something wrong. No, that's probably a healthy fear. They're worried they're going to get in trouble. That means you probably instilled some sort of a liability inside of them that knows, oh, I shouldn't have done that, so now they're kind of fearful. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you're constantly living in this state of fear because you're worried that something is going to happen inside the home. And that shouldn't be. We should be thinking about our home like we think of Jesus. If Jesus is our rock, you know, if he's our foundation, then our home needs to be a foundation like that. It needs to be a place where people can come, be vulnerable, feel protected, feel like they have people standing up for them, feeling like they have people they can depend on that are not out there to hurt them, to be in their face, to yell at them, to blow their finances, to lie to them, to steal from them, to cheat on them. It should be a protected place because it's the home, and God designed the home. So the question here today is, because I know some people probably hopped on this video and they probably said, oh yeah, that's my husband. He did that. He does that all the time. Or that's my wife. Yeah, I wish she would just, just tell me when she spends that. And while that might be true in your situation, we always have to point at ourselves first. What can I do better? What am I doing wrong? And how can I solve this? Because remember, the Bible also says to pull the beam out of your own eye before you go pulling it out of somebody else's. Listen, we cannot be solving everybody else's problems and telling them what they're doing wrong if we can't even correct our own and learn from our own mistakes. How could we give wise counsel to somebody if we haven't even received the counsel for ourselves? So the question today, while we're building a foundation in our homes, is your home a protected place? Do people come there? Do they feel welcome? Do they feel at ease? Do they feel like they can be trusted? Do they feel they can trust you? Do they feel safe? Do they feel like they can speak without condemnation? Do they feel protected? All right, that's what I have for you today, guys. I want to thank you so much for coming to my channel. If you like this kind of content, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next week.